But first, Donald Trump, as if back from the dead, received a hero's welcome when he arrived at the Republican National Convention today. Just days after surviving an assassination attempt, Trump entered the auditorium with a massive bandage on his ear and to the sounds of God Bless America.
Please welcome the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all.
What is this song?
So Trump and his running mate, who we'll talk about in a moment, were formally endorsed as the Republican candidates. And Liz, Elon Musk pledged $66 million a month in funding for the Trump campaign. It was a pretty good day for Donald Trump.
You can't lose with Elon Musk on your side. I mean, to be honest, watching the bits that I did of the RNC, I was a little bit surprised. Everyone knows that I love Trump, but this is not what I was expecting from the RNC. First, you've got Amber Rose, who's a former stripper, some would say porn star, getting up and endorsing Trump. Then you've got an immigrant from Nicaragua, got up and gave her story after, obviously she's a legal migrant, but Trump has been promising these mass deportations like nothing the world's ever seen before, something his VP seems to have rolled back on already. But there was also this extremely strange Sikh prayer to an entity called Waheguru.
तू ठाकर तुम पे अरदास जियो पिंड सब तेरी रास तुम मात पिता हम बारक तेरे तुमरी कृपा मैं सुख कनेरे.
This is not what anyone is expecting at basically a Trump conference. This is his defining moment. This is Trump's America on display. It does make me wonder whether the second Trump administration is going to look different to the first Trump administration in a way that people do not want or expect. I feel like they pandered at several points during this RNC. I don't think it's what the nation needs or what any true Trumpers would want to see at the National Convention.
I don't know. So I have nothing better to do, clearly, and I watched almost all of it this morning. And after, at first they have all different governors and whatever get up and say their piece. And then once Trump came out, most of what you had, as you alluded to, Liz, was people that you wouldn't necessarily expect to endorse Trump. But I think that was a very deliberate move, because what they're trying to set up, and we'll get into the talk about his vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance, in a minute, but what I felt they were trying to set up today was here was a bunch of people, and many of them who got up and spoke after Trump arrived, just out and out said it, that I voted for Biden in 2020 and I'm going to vote for Trump in 2024. What he's setting up is that Biden has been so bad that you now need to come and vote for me. He had a unionist get up and speak. I mean, you wouldn't expect a unionist to go and speak to the RNC. But again, it's all about saying that we are now the party of the average person. Forget about the Democrats. They're not worried about the workers. They're not worried about the legal migrants. They're stuffing you over with all the illegal migrants. We are the party that is going to stand up for the average person. So what you saw was a series of people who really in the past wouldn't have been there, but now are the people that the Republican Party is courting, average Americans who otherwise would have voted for the Democrats.
I get
don't
that
think that's
article
bad.
side of it, but that's what I mean. You're shilling for votes. It is a PR stunt.
Of course it is.
This is not
Well, it's very American.
True Trumpers or people who fly the American flag being like, I'm a Trumper. This is not what I don't think they would have appreciated whatsoever. Obviously, they're not going to change their vote.
Well, precisely.
But
And you're not going to win the election on the back of
I
true
found it
Trumpers.
disappointing. You could have found other individuals who are just as happy to say I was voting for Biden. Now I'm on the Trump train and I'm not getting off without that much virtue signalling.
Well, I've got to say, with all the virtue signalling, I mean, you had strippers, you had unionists, you had, was that a Buddhist or a Hindu lady doing the
Sikh.
chant? But it was a Lutheran church minister who actually stole the show, Pastor James Macpherson. Have a listen to this. This is just before he prayed for Donald Trump.
And if I may, before the benediction, give you this promise. You're going to be so blessed. You're going to be tired of being blessed. I guarantee it.
The thing I like about that, right, is Trump is perceived in so many different ways and usually badly, but the church minister gets up and he's taking the piss out of Donald Trump. And Trump, for the whole of what I saw of the convention, actually looked quite stunned by the reception he received. And if it's possible for Donald Trump to look humbled, he actually looked humbled in parts.
Yeah, he actually looked quite emotional in parts, and as well he would be. I mean, he got shot at the other day, right? And then he's rocked up to the rock star welcome. And I mean, I say rock star welcome. The thing was like a rock concert at points. I mean, you heard the band playing as he came out, and that's what they kept doing between every single one of these speeches. The band would fire up. And if you'd watch the footage on Sky today, like they're all up in the audience dancing pretty badly, it has to be said, some of the dancing was. But it was so American, right? You watch something like that and you're like, you go to a campaign launch for the Liberal Party or the Labor Party and it's all these sort of boring people shuffling in to hear the leader talk to them. They don't do things like that in America. And of course, Donald Trump didn't speak today. He will speak later in the conference, but I kind of wish he had spoken today. If he did speak today, it might have gone something like this.
You can take my ears, but you cannot take my liberty. They want to cut off my ears like the Taliban, but what they don't know is my ears can grow back like SpongeBob through budding, by the way. Hit me with your best shot, why don't you? Because if that's the best you got, you're a loser. You're such a loser, you missed so bigly. By the way, you had a big opportunity. You could have made my head blow up on TV, but you didn't do that, did you? Now my ear is going to grow back bigger and better. It will have better hearing. I will hear like an owl.
I mean, how good is that?